down the block right there at the health food store, they'd have this plant. People juice it, all kinds of things like that.
What's this one? I love burdock. I never knew. I know it in Russia. It's lapuk. Lapuk in Russian.
Lapuk.
Lapuch.
I use burdock a lot, and I never connected the two.
This is why we're doing what we're doing, because those plants come from the earth, and this is the earth. See? So we can actually take ourselves out of that whole economic exacerbation into, wait, where do these plants grow on the earth? Because if they're weeds and if they're herbal medicines, chances are they're anywhere you leave, you don't put concrete, they're going to show up, right? So when you're dealing with understanding what the herb does in the earth, you see how it's related to what it does inside of your body, because your body is actually the earth's, right? In yoga philosophy, we can see that there's consciousness, right? And then there's the body, right? So I'm the mind, right? Consciousness behind going blah, blah, blah. And then I can observe. Can everyone here observe your own body? Ready? Let's try it. Pretty sure I can observe my own body, right? So the idea in yoga, right, is not by a plastic mat or pants from Lululemon. It's actually that consciousness is the witness of every phenomenon. And if you can witness something, then you're not that, right? So if you can witness your body, then obviously there's a witness and there's a body, right? So then can you witness your thoughts? Can you witness your own thoughts? You ever think, God, why the hell am I even thinking that? Right? So there's a witness to thoughts. Can you witness your dreams? Does anyone ever notice oftentimes you're the observer in your dreams? Jurassic Park style, so the huge leaves you see. So what I invite you all to do is take a little piece, right, and assess within yourself of the 6 flavors what flavor you taste when you consume this plant. So this is part of everything we've been talking about with this sort of reclaiming your senses to analyze and understand the ecosystem. Don't look at it like King Tung gets to decide if it's acceptable or not. Look at this as I'm trying to gain relevant information towards the medicinal aspects of this plant. So that's all in the taste, which we'll get to soon. So what are the 6 flavors? Name them.
Salty, sweet, bitter,
sour,
almost there. What? Spicy or pungent?
Other one that has a really weird name.
No, not wabi, umami. That doesn't mean anything. Astringent is what we forgot, right? So those are the 6 flavors. So when you taste this plant, try to understand which flavors it has, and then we'll talk about the medicinal aspect. Astringent means it puckers your mouth, right? So I think I got one other person to eat a piece. Take it nice or else it'll try to choke you.
It's definitely bitter.
Let's do this. This is so new for me.
It's okay. I've eaten almost everything you can look at. Probably including some of that bird poop.
Oh yeah.
Bird poop, it always gets in sometimes.
So imagine if you were able to be neutral. Like imagine if you didn't have a culture which rejected flavors, certain flavors off of your palate. Imagine that you are a neutral baby right now receiving a taste, and what you want is actually to get over the mind and into your Paleolithic body, which has information about this experience, which is not judging. You see the difference? How the judge comes up first? It's like, this is acceptable or this is not acceptable. That is irrelevant towards actually extracting information from the ecosystem, because that one is addicted to salty and sweet, you know? And so once we feel the flavors, so what flavors does everybody get?
Bitter.
Yeah.
Really bitter.
So does anybody know medicinal aspects? So here's, right? Good for the blood. Anything else?
Oh, someone said that like bitter, when you eat bitter, it's better for like mosquito bites. Like they don't, and then that, is that true at all?
Reduces inflammation. Bitter always reduces heat conditions in the body, right? A heat condition is inflammation. Inflammation is always a heat condition, right? We all have lots of inflammation in our bodies. never on this earth have people run on concrete, right? So that gives a tremendous amount of inflammation to the knees, the joints, the body, right? Every time you do that, right, the earth is slamming into you too.
We've also changed the way that we walk.
We changed the way that we walk,
Shoes that we wear.
changed the way that we eat. You know,
Heels.
I know when I used to wear high heels, and I'm just kidding. You know, really, like that's a tremendous way to harm your body.
On that thing about feet, what kind of shoes are you wearing?
Steger mucklucks.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's some more mild green. This is one of my favorite salad greens. I eat this in salad. So I'll take like a little metal pail, keep it with me. I'll have kimchi in it. And I'll just harvest this and just put it around, circle it around, and then give it a few minutes, and it softens the leaves because the acid, like vinegar, naturally is there. And then I'll eat that as a salad dressing. So it's not really giving the property I wanted as much, but it usually turns to goop, right? It's not really there because this is an older stage of the leaf, so it doesn't really have that mucilaginous quality I wanted to share with you all. But it has,
okra?
yeah, precisely. You may have gotten it a little bit, right? It's a little bit in there, but it's not as powerful as usually it is. This sensation somehow is the other biological link towards repulsion. We have the bitter repulsion. There's a reason we have that repulsion. It's because bitter is closely associated with poison. So if you notice how people act when they eat bitter, they act like you're poisoning them. That's a biological ignorance. That's the inability with the tongue to understand the difference between bitter and poisonous, right? So here we have mucilaginous, which is slimy. And a lot of people have resistance to slimy foods too. So think about what we've been eating, right? Basically bread, right? Carbs, chips. All these foods were once seeds. Plants want water. Even if they're broken up into pieces, they still want water. So when you eat seeds, what happens inside of your digestive tract?
Expand.
Those seeds expand and they steal your water, right? Consider, so they dehydrate you because your intestines are supposed to be full of water, right? So all of that bread, all of that stuff, all throughout our lives, crackers, cookies, cakes, all that flour we've eaten has really dehydrated our internal digestive tract. Okay, think about soil, right? So when you have plants growing, what do you have to do all the time?
Water them.
You have to water them, right? What happens if the plants don't have water?
They die.
So what happens to the gut bacteria in your body when there's no moisture in it?
They die.
Right, so what we have is all these skin conditions, all this stuff is directly linked to the fact that we do no longer properly prepare the foods that we have, right? So grains and seeds all should be soaked, right?
Mm-hmm.
We took rice from Asia. Every Asian knows that you rinse this white cloudy stuff off of the rice before you cook it, right? Quinoa, we stole quinoa. Every single person there rinses the quinoa. Turns out there's saponin in quinoa. It's a toxin. It's a toxic element in quinoa. So every culture who we've taken these foods from, we forgot that the preparation technique associated with them is just as important as the food, right? So when you soak and you sprout a seed, you create it to actually unlock. They're called anti-nutrients, right? So it has, what's a very common one? So protein, right? There's these protein inhibitors in certain plants, right? That's because that seed is a time capsule. That seed has a certain amount of energy inside of it for the sprout to grow into a plant. It locks that chemically so that it cannot come out when it's winter or something and then the plant dies, right? So it's actually has a time-released capsule. And the way you trick it into releasing those nutrients is with water, like spraying, right? So you rain on it, you soak those grains, and then they start to sprout, and then they no longer dehydrate the system as much, and they release all the available nutrients, and your body doesn't have to fight them for the nutrients. So it converts on these anti-nutrients into enzymes, right? So that's for the plant's benefit, but we are browsing. So we're actually getting that benefit from the seeds, right? So the number one way I think that we heal our digestive tract now is by eating slimy foods, right? So what are the new popular slimy foods now that we all know about, right? Okra is a great one. Aloe is a great one, right? But currently making it into the health food world, two big superstars, right? Chia and flax, right? So you soak chia and flax, and they, yes, when you soak them.
So-
Soak them, they become.
Yeah, they get
Which is why
it freaks me out. I always
Here's the
blend.
thing.
I end up blending my chia because I'm like, I can't look at that. It looks like mucus.
I love it.
Yes, it does look like mucus, and mucus is necessary for your digestive tract to actually produce its own probiotics, because if you throw dry pills at a dry wall, nothing will happen. You're wasting your money. If you throw probiotics at a moist surface, it will stick and they will actually grow themselves. So the industry telling you that the more pills you swallow, the more probiotics you'll have, is not true, because if you don't have the intestines to harbor them, you're not getting them inside of your system. What harbors the probiotics, the bacteria to grow in the soil, is proper moisture. The same is true inside of our soil. So it's more about changing the moisture content than it is about throwing probiotics at the wall, right? So these kind of foods, these slimy, slippery foods, are the things that coat the digestive tract, and they help to reduce acidity, which is essentially what's killing all the bacteria in our guts, right? So to reclaim the lack of psoriasis, or to reclaim the lack of, ashy elbows or any of that stuff, is the ability, like, we always think, right, put more cream on, put more stuff on our skin. We don't think about moisturizing ourselves from the inside out. And if we did that, we would have fine skin. We wouldn't have all the flakes. We wouldn't have all that stuff going on.